Alan, I want to show you this video I took of myself in my studio. I just basically uh, was playing, this. It's kind of like a creative exercise on the drums, and I call it a para-riddle because it brings up some questions, and we'll talk about it after.
Okay.
And also maybe we'll get some feedback from people who watch this.
Well, that would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay. Let's check it out.
All right. Went through about 6 subdivisions there. That's really great. Deep harmonics you went into. Really nice. Uh,
Yeah, it definitely morphed into like other, like you said, time subdivisions and pulses. It also slightly adjusted, a little bit time change, and things like that. But
Not as much. I mean, I think it was more internal. I think your general one,
mm-hmm.
one, one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you get it that wide, I think it maintains itself.
Yeah.
But your internal metrics
Yeah.
changed quite a bit. So.
Yeah. Well, that's that's what I love to do.
Yeah, well, I
rhythmic
think you
harmony.
did. I think you did a great job on it. It's really, really interesting. I don't miss the symbols at all. You don't need it. I mean, it's really all about the tonalities that are going on. I like the sticking patterns that you're using, the R's and the L's that you. I mean, to get technical about it, there's nothing specific about what you're doing, but you're flowing in of your control patterns very nicely. It's creating very nice orchestrations in the melody coming out with the rhythm. So you have 2 things going on. You have the 3 things going on. You have the basic pulse on your left foot, and then you have the rhythms that you're playing, the actual phrases that you're playing, and that the way you're sticking the phrases around the orchestration of the kit changes the tonalities of the phrases. So even the same phrases change. So the phrases are changing, the pulse is changing, and the orchestration is changing all at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing exactly, but all those points, like, that's definitely what's happening. Like, what you're calling orchestration, I use another term as well, which is voicing.
Same thing, yeah.
Yeah, same thing. But I like to use that term voicing, like, when you voice a chord, and it's like you have 3 notes, but one can be on top, one can be in the middle.
Right, it's the same.
Yeah, it's the same thing like orchestration. So what I'm doing in this solo is I'm experimenting with different time pulse phrasing, melodic phrasing, a lot of nuance, and I'm experimenting. And basically, there's no real. I don't consider it a solo. I consider it more of an activity, and that activity is like practicing. So that's that's one of my practice modes I like to get into.
Like a creative practice exercise.
Yeah, it has multiple purposes because I'm playing with time. Let's say I'm playing with time.
Right.
And I'm playing with my imagination. I'm dancing around and playing around with time, and every time I practice this particular thing, which I like to call it a para-riddle.
Para-Riddle.
Because it's a riddle. It's like, what is this?
I like that.
Like,
yeah,
basically,
it's a non-rudiment. Yes.
Yeah, and basically, it is kind of a riddle because it's like, what is this thing that Billy's doing? It's kind of like, and I think that everybody's going to have a different, maybe a different kind of reaction to it.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, so I call it a para-riddle just because I'm playing around with words and it's fun. So it's like an exercise in creativity, imagination, voicing, sound,
pulse,
rhythmic harmony, all those things. But ultimately, it's just like dancing around with time, and I think that's like something to think about.
I haven't seen anybody do it before. That's what I like about it, is that it's a different way of approaching the drum set. You're not just working on stuff. You're actually trying to create something new, And this exercise does that while you're practicing it. I mean, it's almost like practicing while you're creating.
Yeah. That's ultimately the message that I'm, we want to share, that I want to share, and also just kind of, instill the idea of creative freedom and playing around, having fun, experimenting, all those things that I think are important in practice. Finding your way of phrasing and grooving and having fun with it. But there's still a discipline, because each time you get on your drum set, you're challenged by, well, how can I sound different today? What sounds am I going to use? Hey, maybe I'll take this maraca and tie it onto the hi-hat. Or maybe I won't use cymbals, you know what I mean? Maybe I'll tune the toms a little bit differently.
Well, yeah, I do that a lot. Yeah.
Restrict ourselves. Maybe this exercise will only be cymbals. Maybe we'll just be rims.
Yeah, I do. I do.
And I think that's like you limit yourself, but then you have the freedom to kind of play around with.
Well, I think the freedom comes from the parameters you set. I mean, without parameters, there is no freedom.
It's nice, yeah, because it sets up some kind of vibe, when you have parameters like this. But another thing I want to say about this is that it was inspired from a record that I had a field recording of this West African hand drummer, who was playing. They kind of seemed like congas, but he had like 5 of them. Just a photograph I saw, and I think it's called Boogaraboo drumming, but I'll find out what it is, and then we can share.
I've seen a video like that.
He's wearing bracelets and like that kind of like
not
shake.
This guy, but I saw somebody playing like.
And and then I hear other people. They're changing the sort of pulse behind him, and he is changing the way that he's playing time. So it's like multiple things going on at the same time, and very melodic because he's got at least 5 tones happening.
Yeah.
So that when I heard that, I immediately was like, oh, I want to do that on the drums, and then I got on the drums and
you're doing a lot of tones on one drum, which is really what I love about the Para-Riddles, is that there's so many sounds in the. But you're using the overtones to create another series of tonalities besides the regular head hits.
Yeah, well, there's that nuance, right, of like where you hit the drum.
How much overtone you're using.
Yeah, and just little kind of whatever grace notes. I just call it nuance. How you're bouncing the stick, And
Yeah, right.
are you swinging? Are you playing straighter? Are you pressing in? Are you bouncing?
I think
All those things
I
are
think
all within that
I
range.
think I saw a drag, Billy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate to tell you that,
Drag?
but I saw a drag in there somewhere. Just
Oh
one.
man, that's a drag.
Just one.
What is it? What is a
It's
drag?
a rudiment.
Oh, is it? So this is not necessarily a bad thing, is it?
No, it's not a bad thing at all. It's just that,
Cool.
I guess you can't help but do that.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
So-
Well, that's great. That's just
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting solo, and I think you should do more stuff like that. Let's see where it goes.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
All right.